Smile on. Continue breathing. Long, deep breaths in and out, in and out, in and out. Relax yourself a little bit. Continue breathing. Deep breaths. Breath is coming. When you inhale, it goes to the base of his spine, and as you exhale, top of the head, moving the attention with the breath and long deep breaths. Continue. As you inhale, become aware of what all happened, what is going on in your mind. And as you exhale, let go. As you inhale, remember if anything is bothering you. And as you exhale, let go. Continue attention with the breath, upward, downward movement of the breath. And at the same time, becoming aware of the mind stuff. Whatever is in the mind, becoming aware of the mind stuff. And with ease exhalation, we let go of whatever is there in the mind. One more deep breath in. All the thoughts about past, as we exhale, we let go. And as we inhale, we smile more and more. And this time, as we exhale, we let go of all the thoughts, worries, plans for the future for some time. And let go. Continue breathing in and out, in and out. And relax. Come to the normal breathing. Yeah, we'll do a few minutes of thinking meditation, the contemplative meditation. Very gently, just take the attention of all the people in your life, friends in your circle, friends from art of living, friends of other groups, and family members, relatives. Just take a stock of the situation of internal list of people. And just become aware what kind of experiences you get from them. Some of them might be really conducive to your happiness. Some of them might be dragging you down. Some of them are like really good supporting you. Some of them might be opposing you. Some of them might be very spiritual. And some of them might be spiritual, then also causing some issues. Just Go over your list of people, that your company around you. Just become aware of the effect of your company on the quality of your life, quality of your mind, quality of your awareness, quality of your happiness. Is there a direct impact of the people around you on your inner environment? A deep breath in and gently let go. And at this moment in your life, there might be two people who are very supportive and two people who might be like questionable. Just identify those four people. Two are really uplifting you, giving you joy, and two can be challenging. Just see the effect of those people in the evolution of your life, in the journey of your life. A deep breath in, then gently let go. And become aware of a state of the mind. Are you happy? Are you satisfied? If you are happy, what is your state of mind? Are you in the present? Do you feel more freedom? Are you able to understand the life? If you are happy, does it make life go easier? If you are happy, does it make knowledge flow easily within and without? And take the stock of the situation of your happiness. If you are lacking the happiness, contentment, if there is a hankering about anything, it could be material things, it could be money, it could be name, fame, it could be recognition, even hankering for knowledge. What happens to you? What happens to the flow of life? What happens to the experience of the joy, experience of the flow of event? And does it make easy to understand knowledge when mind is hankering, chasing something, desiring very hard? Just become aware of the phenomena and become aware of your own report card. How much time you stay happy and how many time you are reeling in some kind of unhappiness, some kind of struggle. Just take the stock of your own situation. And let's become aware of one more phenomena. When there are temptations or when there is some testing, when there are some challenges, what is the degree of self-control we have? Does the system takes over? The reptile brain, and we get into fight and flight response, or the frontal lobe is active. We process the situation and then we respond. When temptations are there, do we take a moment to analyze if is it good for me or not, or we just indulge, stick the attention on our degree of self-control. It varies, but just become aware of this quality that we do have certain degree of say over our senses, our reactions, and just go over your past. Just remember few situations where self-control was needed, and just go over a couple of instances from your own life when you exercise self-control and what was the result. Was it conducive? Was it good? And just go over a couple of situations from your own life in the past when you did not exercise self-control. It could be argument, it could be eating while dieting, it could be speaking, it could be reacting. What was the result of that action without guided by self-control? And finally, let's start asking ourselves a question. And whatever answer comes, we just ignore that. We just let go of that answer and we'll again ask the same question. It's part of the happiness program process. The question is, who am I? See, whatever answer comes, just very gently ignore that and then once again internally ask, who am I? And continue asking yourself this question for some time. The answer could be I'm male, I'm female, that's fine. And then you just put them at one side and once again ask the question. Just don't repeat the answer and continue for next few minutes. Who am I? Whatever is the answer, just put that aside and gently once again ask the same question. and relax. We are done asking that question to ourselves. Now, very gently bring attention to the memory of Gurudev, to the memory of Sri Sri. What happens when you are in his presence? Remember those moments if you happen to be in his physical presence. It could be a course with him, like silence course, Sayam, or some satsang, or some special courses like Vijnana Bhairav, some talk. What happens to your state of being, state of mind? Does it become tranquil? Does it become calm? Does that presence give you solace, peace, upliftment? And just in case you happen to be very lucky, if you were in his room, very closely sitting next to him, what happens to your mind? What happens to all the questions and confusion you might have had before you went into that room? Just remember the effect of Gurudev's presence when you are in his company. And if you are not in his physical presence, just remember the effect of the course, effect of his knowledge, effect of his audio video tapes, what it did to your mindset, to your understanding. I'll leave you 1 minute for your own contemplation. Take a deep breath in and slowly let go. Another deep breath in and gently let go. Straighten your spine, straightening your spine. A deep breath in with the biggest smile. And as we breathe out, we may gently open our eyes. We'll start the session by remembering Gurudev once again. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraya, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Shri Gurave Namaha. Prayer. Om Tat Sat. यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपश्मं यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः. Salutation to that reality in which all the elements and all the animate and inanimate beings shine as if they have an independent existence, and in which they exist for a time and into which they merge. ज्ञात ज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दर्शन द्रश्यभुः कर्ता हेतुः क्रिया यस्मत् तस्मै ज्ञाप्यात्मने नमः. Salutations to that consciousness which is the source of the apparently distinct threefold divisions of knower, knowledge, and known, seer, sight, and seen, doer, doing, and deed. स्फुरन्ति शिखरा यस्मद् आनन्दास्याम्बरे वनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः. Salutation to that bliss absolute, the ocean of bliss, which is the life of all beings, whose happiness and unfoldment is derived from the shower of spray from that ocean of bliss. So now we'll start reading further. So last week we were reading about the self effort and very interesting conversation after that. So thank you everyone for that conversation. Now we move forward a little bit here. Just a reminder, this narrative deals with the liberation. Listening to it with other wise seekers who are assembled here, you will realize that Supreme Being, where there is no sorrow or distraction. This was revealed to me by Creator Brahma himself in the previous age. It is just a reminder, as promise of this scripture. If we read it sincerely in a group, it can yield the supreme gain. Okay, so now we continue. Rama, the omnipresent omniscience or the cosmic being, shine eternally in all beings. When a vibration arises in that cosmic being, Lord Vishnu is born. Even as a wave arises when the surface of ocean is agitated. From that Vishnu, Brahma, the creator, was born. Brahma began to create the countless varieties of animate and inanimate, sentient and insentient being in the universe. And the universe was as it was before the cosmic dissolution. So it refers that there has been a cyclic creation. There was a cosmos and then it was distracted, dissolved, transformed. And again, a wave arises, kind of the impulse in the absolute consciousness, and then that energy of Vishnu starts, like the which can organize the universe. And from that energy of organizing, the creative energy of Brahma comes, and then once Brahma energy takes form, or I wouldn't say form is the right word, but let's say when it arises, it starts doing continuous creation and it hasn't stopped. Like we all are part of that and we all keep creating. It might raise some question in our mind. So just hang in there because the next chapter is all about creation, that how what is creation, how it happens. So there might be some questions. I think we can wait for some time for that. So I'm just skipping a little bit. It says that the creator saw that all living being in universe was subject to disease and death, to pain and suffering. So we can relate, right? On this existence, this is the reality. We all are subject to disease, death, subject to pain and suffering. None of us and any sentient being is exempt from this phenomena. In his heart, there arose compassion, and he sought to lay down a path that might lead living beings away from this. So this is like a path out of the misery. The creator brought me into being. So I'm skipping something. If you're reading from the book, my apologies. Just hang in with me. Keep attention to the this screen. The creator brought me into the being. He drew me to himself and drew the wheel of ignorance over my heart. So it's about the Vasistha, right? That is a son of Brahma only. Brahma gave rise to the knowledge, and then that knowledge was wheeled. Instantly, I forgot my identity and my self nature. It's just a reflection about all of us, right? Well, when we were little, we were free. We were chirping like a bird. We were flowing like a river, jumping here and there. And then something happened. We forgot our identity and our self nature. And now we are sitting in this session trying to figure out what is that. I was miserable. I begged to Brahma, the creator, my own father, to show me the way out of this misery. Sunk in my misery, I was unable and unwilling to do anything, and I remained lazy and inactive. In response to my prayer, my father revealed to me the true knowledge, which instantly dispelled the veil of ignorance that he himself has spread over me. The veil of ignorance was revealed, and there was a reason. The creator then said to me, my son, I veiled the knowledge and revealed it to you so that you may experience its glory, for only then will you be able to understand the travail of ignorant beings and help them. Someone who hasn't gone through the pain cannot understand others pain. That is why that knowledge was veiled and then it was again revealed. So then a little bit more, and then we skip to the highlighted portion. O Rama, kings used to receive this wisdom and cherish it. Hence, it is known as Raja Vidya, the kingly science. That this is a royal science of self-realization. And then he talks about Rama. We'll skip that thing. Now, important thing is, as long as the highest wisdom does not dawn in the heart, the person revolves in this wheel of birth and death. Pray listen to my exposition of this wisdom with a concentrated mind. So, what is the use? What is the reason why we need to listen, understand, have this wisdom or self realization? There is a very selfish and a personal reason. It says that until that happens, we keep coming back again and again. And every time it is the same episode of disease, death, illness, misery, all that, right? To get out of that, it is a good idea to gain the wisdom. One should therefore approach an enlightened teacher and by asking the right question with the right attitude, elicit the teaching. It then becomes an integral part of one's being. The fool asks irrelevant questions irreverently. Okay, I'm not saying anything. Okay, this is in the scripture. Let me read it again. The fool asks irrelevant questions irreverently, and the greater fool is he who spurns the sage's wisdom. He is surely not a sage who responds to the vain question of a foolish questioner. You know, I'm trying to avoid reference to any other scripture because that if that was not mastered, we carry the confusion of that teaching to here also. But in Ashtavakra Gita, Guruji tells, right, when question is not asked properly, question is not asked at the right time and in right manner, the answer is not given by the enlightened beings. So just it's a prerequisite of a sincere seeker, right? Asking right kind of question in right manner at right time. Indeed, one should positively strive to enthrone wisdom in one's heart, for the mind is unsteady like a monkey, and one should then avoid unwise company. Did you do your exercise? All the company, how many companies are wise and how many companies are otherwise? At what unwise company brought to you or brings to you, there's something to contemplate about. Now, these are important thing about the behavior of seeker. We are in that chapter. Rama, there are four gatekeepers at the entrance of the realm of freedom, moksha. It is not mocha, not coffee mocha, moksha. They ask, first is self-control, the spirit of inquiry, contentment, and good company. The wise seeker should diligently cultivate the friendship of these or at least one of them. Four of these are there: self control, spirit of inquiry, contentment, and good company. All four are best, but at least one is minimal requirement. With a pure heart and a receptive mind, very important, pure heart and receptive mind. Many times we sit in any knowledge session, any discussion, it's not receptive. It is like the mind is there to prove something, prove our point, prove our knowledge. Right? It is not receptive. And sometimes we don't sit with the right intention, right? It might be some animosity, some stress, some anger. If heart is not pure, then actually it is a little difficult. So just see that when you sit in, or all of us, when we sit in any of the session with the goal of gaining knowledge, this might be useful. Pure heart and receptive mind. And without the wheel of doubt and restlessness of mind. So a little bit of meditation will help. Resting your questions and doubt for a few minutes may help. Listen to the exposition of the nature and the means of liberation. O Rama, for not until the Supreme Being is realized will the dreadful miseries of birth and death come to an end. If this deadly serpent known as ignorant life is not overcome here and now, here and now, here and now, it gives rise to interminable suffering, not only in this, but in countless lifetime to come. So there is no respite. It is not just 50, 60, 70 years of punishment left. It is countless lifetimes to come. One cannot ignore this suffering, but one should overcome it by means of wisdom. That I shall impart to you means Vasistha, not me. And I think we all are sharing the same wisdom here. Then I'll skip. Such a person has nothing to acquire or anything to shun. He is untainted by defects of life, untouched by its sorrow. He does not come into being nor go out, though he appears to come and go in the eyes of beholder. Even religious duties are found to be unnecessary. He is not affected by the past tendencies which have lost their momentum. His mind has given up its restlessness and he rests in the bliss that is his essential nature. Such bliss is possible only by self knowledge, not by any other means. Hence, one should apply oneself constantly to self knowledge. This alone is one's duty. This is the characteristic of someone who has acquired the self knowledge. One who disregards holy scriptures and holy men does not attain self knowledge. There are a lot of people who argue against knowledge, argue against the enlightened master. They also have place in this scripture. Such foolishness is more harmful than all the illnesses that one is subject to in this world. Hence, one should devoutly listen to this scripture, which leads one to self knowledge. He who obtains this scripture does not again fall into blind well of ignorance. O Rama, if you want to free yourself from the sorrow of samsara, receive the wholesome instruction of sages like me and be free. Vasistha continued, in order to cross this formidable ocean of samsara, repetitive history, one should resort to that which is eternal and unchanging. He alone is the best among men, O Rama, whose mind rests in the eternal and is therefore fully self controlled and at peace. He sees that pleasure and pain chase and cancel each other And in that wisdom, there is self control and peace. He who does not see this sleeps in burning house. Have you done the silence course, meditation in the motion? All those intense sensations, they flip, right? They might be painful and they flip, they become very pleasant. And just understanding this in our life, the painful things come and then they change and they actually cancel each other. He who gains the wisdom of eternal here is freed from samsara and he is not born again in ignorance. One may doubt whether such unchanging truth exists. If it doesn't, one comes to no harm by inquiring into the nature of life. Seeking the eternal will soften the pain caused by the changes in the life. But if it exists, then by knowing it, one is freed. So it is a win-win. If it doesn't exist, no problem, no loss. If it exists, I think it's a supreme game. The eternal is not attained by rite and rituals, by pilgrims, nor by wealth. It is to be attained only by the conquest of one's mind, by the cultivation of wisdom. So, wisdom is the supreme requirement or the kind of the goal. Some other action they may be supportive, helpful, but wisdom is most important. When the mind is at peace, pure, tranquil, free from delusion or hallucination, untangled and free from cravings, it does not long for anything or it does not reject anything. This is self control or conquest of mind, one of the four gatekeepers to the liberation. So let's read it again. What is the definition of self control? When the mind is at peace, you see pizza, you say, it's fine, I don't want to eat. You see something very violent movie, you're at peace. It's okay, I don't want to watch that. So when the mind is at peace, pure, tranquil, free from the delusion or hallucination, untangled and free from cravings, it does not long for anything, nor does it reject anything. This is self control or conquest of mind, one of the four gatekeepers to liberation. Self control, O Rama, is the best remedy for all physical and mental ills. When there is self control, even the food you eat tastes better, else it tastes bitter. He who wears the armor of self control is not harmed by sorrow. He who, even while hearing, touching, seeing, smelling, and tasting what is regarded as pleasant and unpleasant is neither elated nor depressed, is self controlled. He who looks upon all beings with equal vision, very important. It is not just the shamadama, it is like a little more deeper. He who looks upon all beings with equal vision, having brought under control the sensations of pleasure and pain, is self controlled. He who, though living amongst all, is unaffected by them, neither feels elated nor hates. Even as one is during sleep, he is self controlled. So, what happens when you are in company of some favorable people, some unfavorable people, some good thing, some not good thing? What happened to our state of the mind? If it is disturbed, maybe a little cultivation of self effort will help. But if you are just chill, relax, you are just doing what is supposed to be done, you have a greater degree of self control. Coming to the second gatekeeper, inquiry. The second gatekeeper to liberation should be undertaken by an intelligence that has been purified by a close study of the scripture. And this inquiry should be unbroken. By such inquiry, the intelligence becomes keen and is able to realize the supreme. Hence, inquiry alone is the best remedy for long lasting illness known as samsara. The wise man regards strength, intellect, efficiency, and timely actions as the fruit of inquiry. When the mind has been rendered dull by the absence of inquiry, even the cool rays of moon turn into deadly weapons, and the childish imagination throws up a goblin in every dark spot. Hence, the non inquiring fool is really a storehouse of sorrow. It is the absence of inquiry that gives rise to actions that are harmful to oneself and others, and to numerous psychosomatic illnesses. Therefore, one should avoid the company of such unthinking people. Have you had any friend who will just do things without thinking, worrying about the result, worrying about the nature of actions and all those things? Just see what happens. See, what is inquiry? I'm jumping a little bit. What is inquiry? To inquire, thus, who am I? How this evil of samsara, repetitive history, come into being is true inquiry. So this question is, who am I? Question about the world, question about the existence, question about what we see, go through experience. The reality of that is the true inquiry. It's not a sequel query. It is the inquiry about nature of yourself, your true self, right? Who am I? Knowledge of truth arises from such inquiry. From such knowledge, there follows tranquility in oneself. And then there arises the supreme peace that passeth understanding and the ending of all sorrow. This is telling the result of doing a unbroken self-inquiry. Vichara is a Sanskrit word, or inquiry is not reasoning nor analysis. So we don't form a concept, oh, I am Brahman, and then start defining, giving reason I am Brahman. It is not like it is a direct perception or directly looking into oneself, our own nature, what is changing inside us, what is not changing inside us, right? Questioning who am I? I think Gurudev gave that beautiful meditation in happiness program, right? We used to do. Now I don't know whether we do it or not. I think we should meet someday and do some of these processes. Who am I is a very powerful process. Whatever comes up, oh, I am male, fine, but before birth, I was not male. Even in the mother's womb, it took 3 months before the gender was formed. Oh, I'm an engineer. Yeah, but engineer you became when you were 20 years old. Before that, you were not engineer. So all these things, roles and attributes which are changing, that is not the truth. So then we keep asking, who am I? And let the answer come and then analyze whether it is the real answer or it is just a role or condition or a achievement. I am a CEO. So what? Before, when you were young, you were not CEO. So what is the truth? Going to that point is inquiry. It leads to a lot of realization. I would strongly encourage doing that. Moving to the third one. Contentment is another gatekeeper to liberation. He who has quaffed the nectar of contentment does not relish craving for sense pleasure. When one is happy, when is contented, when somebody's stomach is full, they don't eat more. Like it doesn't matter how much and what food is in front of someone, right? It's contentment, right? It doesn't let you chase anything. No delight in this world is as sweet as contentment, which destroys all sins. What is contentment? To renounce all craving for what is not obtained unsought, and to be satisfied with what comes unsought, without being elated or depressed by even by them. This is contentment. How much life energy is burned into chasing this and that, whether it is good for us or not good for us, how much time and energy is spent. But seeing, like coming to a point where contentment, whatever comes, comes, whatever goes, it goes, and that also doesn't depress us or elate us. This is contentment. As long as one is not satisfied in the self, he will be subjected to sorrow. Just reflecting in our life, when we are not satisfied, maybe we are living in a 10 million house, the best car, best spouse, best friend, best country. If one is not satisfied, how much sorrow we suffer. With the rise of contentment, the purity of one's heart blossoms. The contented man who possesses nothing owns the world. Then the next one, Satsang, company of wise, holy and enlightened persons, is yet another gatekeeper to liberation. Very interesting thing. I'll take a minute before we read further. This Yoga Vasistha is amazing. It doesn't talk about gods. It doesn't talk about do this worship, have this faith and believe. It doesn't glorify anything. It doesn't glorify any of the deities, any specific form. You will see, you read whole scripture, it doesn't talk about any deity, any god, any kind of thing. The only thing it glorifies is the company of enlightened person. And it harps over and over again. If you read it, it is Vasistha is enlightened and the company of enlightened. It gives so much of emphasis of company of enlightened people. I think the company of enlightened people have this properties that they can transmit their experience of self realization, even though the person in front of them may not have it. And that is why I was asking, remember what happens when you are in presence of the enlightened master like Gurudev. So I'll leave it to you, but just wanted to highlight this subtle point is even though this scripture doesn't favor any other practice other than direct inquiry into the nature, into the self, into the truth, it glorifies the company of enlightened people. Reading again. Satsanga, company of the wise, holy and enlightened person is yet another gatekeeper to liberation. Satsanga enlarges one's intelligence, destroys one's ignorance, and one's psychological distress. Whatever be the cost, listen, doesn't matter what is the ticket cost to the boon or the course, whatever be the cost, however difficult it may be, whatever obstacle may stand in its way. So just relating in our own life, right? This is written what 5,000 years, God knows, few hundred years back it is written. Then also the same problem was there. Cost was the problem. There was some obstacle, okay, and there were some difficulty to be in the company of the enlightened being. So we are no different. But what is the guidance? Whatever be the cost, however difficult it may be, whatever obstacles may stand in its way, satsanga should never be neglected. For satsang alone is one's light on the path of life. Satsang is indeed superior to all other form of religious practices. So you do charity, pilgrimage, and performance of your religious rites. But what is the superior, most supreme is satsang, company of the enlightened being. One should by every mean in one's power adore and serve the holy men. Serving your master in all possible manners, or whatever you can do. The holy men who have realized the truth and in whose heart the darkness of ignorance has been dispelled. They who, on the other hand, treat such holy men disrespectfully surely invite great suffering. These four, contentment, satsang, the spirit of inquiry, and self control, are the four surest mean by which they who are drowning in the ocean of samsara can be saved. Contentment is the supreme gain. Satsang is the best companion to the destination. The spirit of inquiry itself is the greatest wisdom. And self control is supreme happiness. Now, there is a little relief if it looks like little kind of difficult. If you are unable to resolve all these four, then practice one. By the diligent practice of one of these, the other will also be found in you. So at least pick one of these things, right? My choice is company of the holy people, and in my life, it is Gurudev Shri Shri Ravi Shankar Ji. You can pick and choose whatever you want. Then I'll skip a little bit. O Rama, only he would wish to hear this who is ripe for the liberation. This is about the Yoga Vasistha, this book. Only he would wish to hear this who is ripe for liberation. So pat on your back, like do it a little bit. Looks like something good is happening. Okay. But this revelation is capable of leading one to liberation, even if one doesn't desire. Again, pat on the back, even if you are here just to edit the videos and not to listen to this, still it will have some effect on you. Okay. As a light is capable of illumining the eyes of even the sleeping person. As when the truth that a rope is seen, and the fear generated by misunderstanding that it is a snake disappears. Ajay, this is the common, right? In Ashtavakra Gita also, a snake in the rope. When the truth that a rope is seen, and the fear generated by misunderstanding that it is a snake disappears, the study of this scripture frees one from sorrow born of samsara, of repetitive existence. Then it talks about the structure of and the content of this one. The first is Vairagya Prakarnam, which is the first one on dispassion. We finished that one. Today was the Mumukshu Vyavahar Prakarnam, the chapter on the behavior of seeker. We are finishing. Then comes creation, then comes on existence, then comes the cessation of the mind. Okay, there were thousands of slokas, but a little, it's mostly repetition. Yeah, that's good enough. So okay, so I will be asking you to read it, but there is one thing I want to share with you guys. Okay, when a truth, so when so this is about the behavior of the seeker. Now the chapter 3 onwards is very interesting because there are a lot of stories. The story of Leela, a story of the kids which were unborn, a story of X, a story of Y, and very very interesting fantasy land, right? And you might think that what is true, Leela had this kind of experience and someone else had that kind of experience, but I'm not having. So there is a little explanation about that just to understand when you read on your own what is expected. When a truth that hasn't been personally experienced is expounded, so we haven't experienced that absolute consciousness. That is not the truth. I think the only thing we experience is the absolute consciousness. We will talk in the coming days, but let's say that we are not clear about that. When a truth that hasn't been personally experienced is expounded, one does not grasp it except with the help of an illustration. So there is some example to help understand the abstract truth like absolute consciousness, etc. Such illustrations have been used in this scripture with a definite purpose and limited intention. Let me repeat. Such illustrations have been used in this scripture with a definite purpose and a limited intention. So there are illustrations, there are stories, they have a definite purpose and a limited intention. They are not to be taken literally. So if Leela is flying from one plane to other plane, you don't sit on your yoga mat and wait for it to take off from one plane to another plane. That may or may not happen, right? So do not take everything literally, nor is there significance to stretch beyond the intention. Very important. Like don't stretch that beyond their intention of whatever was the intention for that illustration. Okay. When the scripture is thus studied, so you focus on the sar of the substance and the intent. When we study with that, not giving too much importance to the illustration, neither ignoring the illustration because they are the aid to understand what is a little abstract. When the scripture is thus studied, the world appears to be a dream vision. And that is again interesting. The world appears to be a dream vision. How dream vision? Let's talk tomorrow. Well, tomorrow means next session. I think now we'll be entering into real juicy and fantastic realm of Yoga Vasistha next week onwards, hopefully. These indeed are the purpose and purport of the illustrations. Let no one of perverted intellect misinterpret the illustration given in this scripture. Let me repeat. Let no one of perverted intellect misinterpret the illustration given in this scripture. Sometimes it might happen that like we get hallucinated, or we use any of this illustration for fighting and beating. I think there is a warning because the illustration are pretty vivid and imagine. So just understand you are studying it. Just study with right kind of intent. Okay. Then okay. Again, such study should continue till the truth is realized. One should not stop short of complete enlightenment. So please don't stop after few chapters until you reach the goal. Continue. A little knowledge of scripture results in confusion, worse confounded. I think this is a very apt thing for people like us because we keep reading different scriptures, version A, version B. But if we don't fully understand, then the confusion gets compounded. We take that confusion from one place to other place. So it is just a what you call disclaimer and statutory warning that little knowledge of scripture may result in confusion. So just be mindful, right? That until you understand it fully, those are just the pointers. Pointers are not the real truth. Okay. Okay, so now the most important thing. Even as the ocean is the substratum of all waves, direct experience alone is the basis of all truth. That is why Vedanta is the path of direct experience. It doesn't talk anything ritual and meditation and all that thing. We just aid it by grace of Gurudev. I think there is a version which helps to make it easy, but it is all about direct experience of the truth. The direct experience of truth as it is. That substratum is the experiencing intelligence, which itself become the experiencer, the act of experiencing and experiencer. Mr. Sai, that substratum is the experiencing intelligence, which itself, that there is one thing, experiencing intelligence. We'll talk a little bit more about this. It's very, very fascinating, right? Both intellectually, and once we start understanding, it is so much full of bliss. Is that experiencing intelligence, which itself become the experiencer, the act of experiencing and experience. Now, very interesting thing is that the experiencing alone is the fact. We'll talk a little bit more about this. Yet, in a state of non-understanding, this experiencing seems to have a subject, the experiencer, Prabhat, Sai, Raji, and all of us. Wisdom that is born of the spirit of inquiry dispels this non-understanding, and the undivided intelligence shines in its own light. So now it started talking about the truth, that how everything is one. In ocean, there are different waves, but the truth is the water, that is the substance. In coming chapters, more. At that stage, even the spirit of inquiry become superfluous and dissolve itself. So spirit of inquiry is a vehicle which takes us to that understanding what is supreme intelligence, bring us into the direct contact of that awareness, absolute consciousness, unmodified, untainted, the being inside us. And then there is no purpose of continuing asking who am I, because now you already know who you are, and then that spirit of inquiry dissolve itself. Even as movement is inherent in air, manifestation as the subtle perceiving mind and the gross object it perceives is inherent in this experiencing intelligence. And the perceiving mind, on account of ignorance, thinks I am such and such an object, and the hence become that. The object is experienced only in the subject, not elsewhere. I will ask you guys to read it multiple times before we come next, because this is very, very fascinating thing. Okay, we'll discuss more. Okay. Then till this time, as this wisdom arises directly in you, take recourse to the knowledge transmitted by great teachers like Gurudev, Sri Ravi Shankar ji. When you receive such knowledge from the great teachers, your behavior will mirror theirs. You start mimicking a monkey, you become monkey. You start mimicking a dog, you look like a dog, behave like a dog. You start mimicking a behavior of an enlightened master, you become enlightened master. And when thus you grow in their virtuous qualities, your wisdom will unfold within you. Once you start mastering the knowledge point, 5 point, accepting people as they are, understanding opposite values are complementary, not seeing intention behind others' mistakes, present movement is inevitable, and not being football of others' opinion, simple five behavioral aspect. Okay? You see, we come closer to the Gurudev's kind of personality. Your wisdom will unfold within you. Wisdom and emulation of the noble behavior of holy ones thrive on each other. Okay. So last two paragraphs, I will request read it multiple times. And before we come back, read the chapter second again and the chapter third, at least like half of the chapter third, right? So let's close our eyes. Eyes are closed. Deep breath in. Let go. Another deep breath in. Gently let go. And just recall what all we heard today. We heard about four gatekeepers of liberation, self control, spirit of inquiry, contentment, and satsang, the company of holy and enlightened people. Just see the degree of self control in your life. Just do a self evaluation. Just quickly have a peek inside you about the utility of a spirit of inquiry. How many times you ask, who am I? Don't ask others. Do you know who am I? That is, people when they fight this ask, right? But asking yourself, who am I? And what is the level of contentment in your life? With contentment, you become supreme, you become king. Without contentment, we all become beggars. We are begging, chasing one thing or other thing. We become very weak, loosey goosey. And the effect of company of enlightened being. What happens when you are with Gurudev? Your own realization for next 2 minutes before we open our eyes. I'll just read a few things from the while you are contemplating. Keep your eyes closed. Positively strive to enthrone wisdom in one's heart, for the mind is unsteady like a monkey. How is our own mind? Isn't it like a monkey? The eternal is not attained by rites and rituals, by pilgrimages, nor by wealth. It is to be attained only by the conquest of one's mind, by the cultivation of wisdom, self control. When the mind is at peace, pure, tranquil, free from delusions or hallucinations, untangled and free from cravings, it doesn't long for anything, nor does it reject anything. This is self control or conquest of mind. Self control is the best remedy for all physical and mental ills. Spirit of inquiry, to inquire thus, who am I? How this evil of repetitive history, samsara, came into being. Inquiry is not reasoning nor analysis. It is directly looking into yourself, oneself. Contentment, to renounce all cravings for what is not obtained unsought, and to be satisfied with what comes unsought, without being elated or depressed even by them. With the rise of contentment, the purity of one's heart blossoms. Satsang, company of enlightened being, it enlarges one's intelligence, destroys one's ignorance, and one's psychological distress. Whatever be the cost, however difficult it may be, whatever obstacle may stand in its way, satsang should never be neglected. For satsang alone is one's light on the path of life. Satsang is indeed superior to all other forms of religious practice like charity, austerity, pilgrimage, and performance of religious rites. Glory of these four gatekeepers. Contentment is the supreme gain. Satsang is the best companion to the destination. The spirit of inquiry itself is the greatest wisdom, and the self control is supreme happiness. Take a deep breath in and slowly let go. Another deep breath in and gently let go. And taking your own sweet time, whenever you feel complete, we may slowly and gradually open